When was the last time you got more than you bargained for? For better or for worse, life is often unpredictable. If you watched Rory McIlroy at the weekend finally win the Masters, you'll know how unpredictable sport can be. Sometimes what we think will or should happen doesn't. Plans change, expectations are exceeded one way or another. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams certainly know all about plans changing in life's unpredictability. They definitely got more than they bargained for. They're the two NASA astronauts who originally set off on an 8-day mission to the International Space Station, but ended up staying for 9 months. That's a long time to be marooned anywhere, let alone in orbit. But along the way, they took part in over 150 experiments and witnessed wildfires and hurricanes, all from 250 miles above the planet. One way or another, things took a turn, circumstances changed, and their expectations were exceeded. Even when they finally returned to Earth, they got more than they bargained for when their splashdown was greeted by a pod of curious dolphins. One of the things that draws me to the person of Jesus is that everyone always seems to get more than they bargained for. When Jesus is involved, every story, every conversation, every encounter leads to expectations being exceeded. The prodigal son returns home in shame, expecting and accepting the judgment and consequences of his actions, and yet finds welcome, forgiveness, and celebration. Thousands of hungry people sit down on a hillside in need of food with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish between them. And yet, with Jesus involved, the Bible says when the people had eaten their fill, they filled 12 large baskets with leftovers. While on that first Easter Sunday, a group of grieving people went to mourn the loss of their friend and mentor, only to be greeted by an empty tomb and an announcement that he had, in fact, risen from the dead. When Jesus is involved, it's fair to say things take a turn. Instead of rejection, there is acceptance. Instead of judgment, there is forgiveness. Instead of scarcity, there is abundance. Instead of death, there is life. When Jesus shows up, circumstances can and do change. People are welcomed and embraced. Healing takes place. Hope is renewed. At Easter, one way or another, things take a turn, circumstances change, and everyone's expectations are exceeded. Whatever life looks like for you, whatever you are hoping for, or needing, or expecting, I pray that this Easter, like Rory and the returning astronauts, you get more than you bargained for.